Evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to, as always, a lovely Friday evening. You're joined by me, as always, in the box. Have a guess who? That's it. There's Steph in the box with you. So yeah, we're live at round 11 around the old classic. Well, not the old classic Hockenheim Ring, the new modernised track, I should say. It would be amazing to race around the old Hockenheim Ring. It's an absolutely amazing track. But we will get through the details of that very shortly. So then, before I go through the drivers and the constructor standings, if you guys have not seen the last race of last week, I do recommend if you guys watch it. Absolutely interesting battles. So if you haven't watched it, please go through the channel, look back for the last week of TTFL, which was around round 10 live at Silverstone. I ain't going to spoil it all for you, so feel free to watch it back and enjoy that race because it's absolutely amazing to commentate on. But now we are live onto round 11. To start off things, we're going to go through the drivers and the constructors respectively. So then, start with the drivers first then. We have got CSR Hamilton up at top then with 121 points. We've got Spike in second with 116 points. We've got Siege in third with 113 points. The Gore in fourth with 105 points. Jay in fifth with 61 points. Lambo in sixth with 53 points. Supercar NL, which you guys know, has retired. He's on 43 points. Line is 7 at the moment. We've got Ollie in P8 there with 38 points. Plaster in ninth with 36 points. We've got Maze in 10th. He's classified himself as retired, unfortunately, with 32 points. We've got Francis in 11th with 25 points. Maximus in 12th with 22 points. We've got Kieran in 13th, who's down in reserve with 20 points, tied with Fredo as well, who's also on 20 points. Technique, who's retired, is on 19th in 15th place at the moment. Got Darren Sinclair in 16th with 18 points. We've got Clifford Red in 17th with 16 points. We've got Ollie in P18 with 15 points, tied by Weed Nation's second account or TTG account, and also we've got Poe as well, tied there with 15 points. We've got Struth in 21st with 14 points, which is they got a skirt. 22nd we have got Alan Kay in 13 points. TTG Jez is in 23rd with 10 points. We've got Damien B in 24th with 8 points. And Bill Matt there with 25 points, who's marked down as retired. And SJ Mello there also joining with the joint 25th there with 6 points. So then, obviously you can understand why we got loads of drivers after the 20th spot there, because obviously some of them have marked as reserves. So bear that in mind, and obviously some of them have retired as well, which is a shame really. But obviously they want to go on about things, so I can understand that. So that's the drivers' standings then from as of round 10. For the constructors wise, we've got the Red Bulls on top there with 159 points. We've got the Mercedes in second with 145. McLaren's in third with 140. We've got the Force Indias in fourth with 139. We've got the Renaults in fifth with 103. We've got the Haas in sixth with 81. We've got Toro Rosso in seventh with 61. We've got Flores in eighth with 56. We've got Sowers in 9th with 48 points, and then the Williams are in 10th place there with 28 points. So that is your drivers and constructors there, all sorted out as of round 10. So back to tonight's main feature then, which is the old Hockenheim Ring live in Germany. Has had its modifications since its heydays. Generally started out back in the 70s and 60s as a long distance track. So basically after around the point of turn 2, you used to go carry on straight on, exceeding over the speeds of, which would have been in the modern era of the cars of today, would be like over 200 miles an hour. But back then you'd be almost pushing it. Going right through the forest there, literally going through 3 short chicanes in a stretch again of high speeds, and then come back onto the new layout, and then heading into the stadium complex, and to round up the lap, which is always a high thrilling and adrenaline area to literally just race through there at that high speed, knowing that you're buzzing and come back in the stadium complex and just get wowed on by the crowd and then to go back out and do it again. But obviously it has had its ups and downs, especially like fatalities. The major one, obviously around that era back in the days of the 70s, be like Jim Clark racing around there, and it was obviously at the time racing in the Formula 1 Junior Series at the time, and unfortunately lost his life around the track. Obviously back then they didn't have much in the way of safety on-code barriers as it is today, but since then they have made modifications in safety grounds to improve it, and obviously make the track shorter, but still maintain the good average high speed as it is today. So then, obviously, action points. Then we are looking forward to tonight. Then, so the action points may be going down into turn 1 if they nail it correctly. It is a very tight entrance into turn 1, so using raising the trust of the drivers to make sure they have the trust in each other. You can see action points going into turn 2 as well. Obviously, bear in mind it is 3 DRS zones, so for the main straight it's DRS zone 1. After turn 1 it's another DRS zone, and into turn 2. After turn 2 and 3 it would be DRS zone down the back straight. You can see action points along that point of the third DRS zone as well, heading down towards the hairpin. And then we can also see action zones after that area as well, after the exit, going side by side. Through the likes of 4 to 5, 10-6 into 10-7, we can see action points around there, and also into the stadium complexes as well, where you can see various of action points around there. Obviously after the little mini carousel, be expected to be like single file through there, because it's not exactly a side by side action all through there, and then back onto the straight, start finishing straight and go around again. We have got also we've got 3 new drivers, 2 new drivers joining the lineup tonight. Obviously I should say 3, but one of them has been marked down as a reserve. We'll go through with them obviously through the race, but I'll quickly mention the names for you now. If I have a look through the menu just to make sure if there is any in the lobby. We have got Uzi 1985, as recently just had his trial and he passed successfully. He'll be racing for Mercedes AMG Petronas. We also got CSR Spag, who's representing McLaren for his race seat as well for Fridays. So welcome to the league for them too. And also CSR Zenqui, as I say. Also coming to join the league as well, but marked down as a reserve. Also got other reserves that are also at the moment standing in as well as we speak. We have got TTG Lambo. For those who probably recognise the names, for those who don't, Lambo does race for the TTL F1 league. As it stands at the moment, he is currently in a title decider, which is now going down to the last race, which will be on Tuesday. He'll be battling against TTG Po, so he'll be looking forward to get a good result for tonight, enjoying himself. Also got Darren Sinclair as well, obviously a former driver for the TTL F1 league, and also as you can move up there, makes life easier. Racing for TTG F1 League 1 series. But he's also joining in for TTFL as a reserve, knowing that he did also used to race for TTFL as well. So it's always great to see his face and his name back on track. But yeah, looking at tonight, we have got a good strong lineup. We've got 17 drivers here racing tonight. We can see what actions and galore we can bring around Germany. I'm sure there'll be an amazing amount of action. Being a very short circuit, we can see lap times plummeting down very rapidly. but it can also depend on what's happening out on track, and also along with tide temps and weather, and especially for the race. You know, anything can happen in case of a virtual safety car or safety car itself. We'll find out. So then, as the timer has now commenced, we are going to be going live into 18 minutes of qualifying. Obviously, I'm not going to look on my phone whatsoever from anyone commenting on the weather. I like to remain it a mystery for this one to spice it up a little bit more. Makes more of the dramatic even better. But like I say, I like a good Germany Grand Prix. It's like, you know, it's great to have it back on the track. It's like, you know, there's so many various circuits around Germany that pull off great, you know, racing and stuff. Best history of mine, probably say like 2007, when it was that monsoon rain around Nürburgring, and it just happened just before the start of the race, and Marcus Winkelhoff, who was driving for the Arrows at the time, pulled into the pits on the formation lap and put on set wets and caught it right and led the race from there, and obviously only to be overtaken after the restart afterwards. So then, back on to 2018 then, as we're advancing forward. 18 minutes of qualifying has started. Now it's just down to the drivers who select the tyre choices of their own will. Tyre compounds that we got tonight then, we have got ultra softs, we've got the softs and the mediums tonight. So there ain't no super softs, so it was a gap between the ultras and the softs, so drivers have to be a bit wisey on their tyre compound and see what happens from there. Darren Sinclair's opted to retire straight away, so he's probably in the safeguard on his tyres. Meanwhile, we haven't got a car at track, but we'll keep an eye out who has gone out first. He'll be my little track guide representative. And it'll be GGT Poe who's come out on the track on first then. He's also obviously marking down as a reserve for tonight, and also in a title battle, title battle rival with TTG Lambo for TTL F1. But like Lambo, he's just like to come and race tonight, just have a bit, you know, good time and fun, and just enjoying himself. Obviously, at the moment, most of the drivers have locked onto the set of ultra softs, apart from Uzi and Hamilton, up to different types of tyres there. Obviously, Uzi going on softs and Hamilton on mediums. But meanwhile, we're going to be locked onto Poe, as he's the first one out on track and will be the first one to set lap time. He'll be my little special guinea pig. He will be doing a little track guide for me once he does for that fast lap. Now, hopefully he does not put into the pits. No, he's going to go out, so well done Poe, stick out there. So then, DRSA number 1, going over the line just about now, heading down towards turn 1, 100 metre board. Crucial to get this corner right on the first time, you can validate your lap easy there, but Poe made it through nicely done there. Into second DRS zone, heading down into turn 2. Crucial to get the line through there, because it can compromise your turn 3, which is coming up now. Oh, and he goes a little bit wide there, and Richard does compromise his line there, he hits the wall there. Well, here's the little DRS sign there. Go around the kick of 4. Although I like to call turn 4 the hairpin really, but you pass that corner in turn 5, which is the hairpin. Get the apex right, you'll be nailing down the lap there. And again, exit there crucial as well. Now into turn 6. Nicely done into turn 7. And then obviously turn 8 will come up very quick. It's a bit off putting on the corner. You can go wide there, as Poe nearly did there around turn 9. Now through into turn 10, into the stadium complex then. Hear the roar of the crowd next to you. Again through around the little mini carousel, turn 11. Again, crucial getting the exit there into turn 12 and turn 13 and into turn 14. These corners come very quickly, along with turn 15, which Poe doesn't not complete. But these days a little track guide there from Poe. Represent a little bit of a track guide there, obviously missing out the last couple of corners. Beat well though. Great build on one of the debuts tonight, which is Uzi 1985 on his fly there, and he's also aborted his lap as well. So we'll try to find the next driver who was out on track then. Is that Lambo Webhouse's Lambo? Right, Lambo is currently around the last mini sector of the lap. And there we go, going around the last corner. Initiate the DRS then. And obviously the Lambo there starts his flying lap then. So then, first person set lap time then was also another debut driver as well, which is CSR Spag. He has done a 1 minute 14.8 on the set of Ultra Soft, so that is the target, or the benchmark, if we're into set lap time. And as I said that, Ollie P goes one faster then, he goes 1:14.3, getting the same compound, going half a second quicker then. So Ollie P there, on the at the moment for provisional pole, on Ultra Soft tyres, with a 1:14.3. Obviously we do have like good other quick drivers out there as well, putting down a good set benchmark of the time. Alan K there goes P3 there with a 1:18.7 on the set of mediums there. I'm presuming he's just like getting the feel of the grip of the track and just know where he can push his limits on his car, getting himself some practice in. But not a bad lap time there on the set of mediums there despite that though. So we'll try and find out who else is up there on the flyer. Most of the drivers are aborting in the laps a little bit early, presuming just to get a feel of the track conditions. VSL Francis then opting for a set of Ultra Soft there, obviously on a lap as well. We do have to keep an eye on drivers who are setting lap times as we speak. Ollie at the moment currently out there setting out another lap time there on mediums. See what he can do. Whilst meanwhile Hamilton has left the session, so I do not know if he's got connection issues. I hope he can rejoin us very quickly though, because you don't want nobody getting distracted by qualifying times due to someone's left the session. So hope you can get back soon as you can, Hamilton. It'd be great. Meanwhile, as we come on board with Poe, going a little bit wide at turn 1, that's not what you want to do. Turn 1 can be easy gritty if you go off wide on the exit there. The walls are there to punish you. Obviously back in the days it used to be gravel traps, so Poe's very lucky that there's a good tarmac runoff there, but despite that, keep it with between the lines. VSL Francis still going up there, he's kind of on the fly as we speak. Go on board with him actually, so again adjusting everything on the steering wheel, trying to optimise this power out of the car. Obviously there we go, got the better sound of the engine there, a little bit connection laggy there, but still putting in a good lap time. Meanwhile though, as we speak, also the other new driver as well acting as reserve, which is CSR Senkwi. He's currently on pole with 1 minute 12.2. That is a good impressive lap time, to be honest, on the medium tyres as well. So this can prove interesting if the league gun's showing off the upper hand. Just now puts the other drivers who are currently in the league to up the game a little bit more to prove who's boss. Lambo there comes back into the pits as we speak. So CSR then currently done 2 laps on mediums, yet to set a lap time. I'm presuming just to get the feel and the grip of the track as he goes around. And he decides to go in the pits and feels that he's going to go for another lap on the different set of tyre compounds to see what tyres will come out next. Meanwhile on board with TTGJ then. Currently out there at the moment with set of mediums. Maybe playing the long ball game at this point, or just in case to get grip of the track. Meanwhile the other flags in sector 3, I'm presuming that it's just drivers just yielding and getting out of the way as much as possible, as sector 3 is a narrow based area of the track. So meanwhile Jay there goes out there with Good entry and exit and hitting the apex around the mini hairpin there. Still pushing on hard though on those centre mediums. Might be the track temperature then, might be favouring a little bit more on the harder tyres than is the softer compounds itself. Might be the same case again, you never know. Anything can happen in Formula 1, it generally does, and surprises always comes their way. Oh, and then JJ decides to abort into the pits instead. So obviously at the moment, and people that set the lap times as we speak, then is Senkui is in first then, 1 minute 12, along with Izzy in P2. Ollie then P3 with 1 minute 14.3. CSL Spags P4 then 1 minute 14.8. Plaster then P5 with a 1 minute, well, I should say was in P5. He's now down to P6, 1 minute 5.0. Alan K is in P7 then with 1:16.1. Obviously, Francis there promoting himself up into P2 there with a 1 minute 12.5 on a set of ultra soft tyres. So, Francis there having a good race out last time in his debut in Silverstone. Putting on again another masterclass effort in qualifying so far. So, like I said, it's always like to see good, new drivers coming into the field. And pushing themselves to the limit, putting a good challenge into the respectful drivers around them as well. Puts out great entertainment. But at the moment, as it stands, after the 7.5 minute mark, currently have 7 drivers only set lap time. So obviously, around Germany, it is very easy to invalidate your lap, especially around the likes of turn 1. Where you can easily cut the inside of turn 1 and also cut the exit on turn 1. It's finding the balance and the speed to get through that section alone, and then afterwards it's a case of making sure you keep the line cutting between the lines. Another one you can lose time out on is also, as we see Lambert go around, is that corner as I'm about to mention. It's easier to cut the inside as well alongside the outside. And also the last 2 corners as well, you can cut it easy on the outside. So it's a case of just keeping the cars intact and on the limits, and you can still get a good lap time. But as soon as you exceed those limits, it will cost you dearly. Meanwhile, that Lambo there's got a fast car coming up behind him. Now that is not exactly what we would like to see. Obviously, 2 cars dueling. Now I do not know who's who, but that is indeed a Williams. Now I'm trying to find out which Williams driver it was. Now it might be indeed SJ Miller there, so obviously stewards may have a look at that little cheeky overtake and dueling there, but we'll see what happens there, because that could be slightly a bit impeding, but down to the stewards to sort out their issues to sort it out. Meanwhile though, Lambo they up into P2 on the set mediums, well 2 laps old mediums, which is now down to P3 on 1 minute 12.3. Hamilton though meanwhile goes in P1 with a 1 minute 12.1. Now this is a chance of Hamilton to extend his lead at the top of the driver's standings and get in pole position on the set of mediums with a 1 minute 12.1. Now this could help him amazingly throughout the race, providing he gets a good start. Obviously getting a good start around Germany is easy said and done if the other drivers behind you get better starting than you. Of course, turn 1 can be favourable for you and also can be a hindrance. So looking through the field, obviously everyone now starting to set a little bit more of a lap time now, so still currently waiting for 1, 2, 3, 4, about 6 drivers then to set lap time. Obviously waiting on Lagort, Damien, Ollie, well CSR, Ollie, Poe, Jay and Siege to set lap time. And Siege now just out there going out set lap as we speak, so come on board with him shortly. SJ Miller though has retired, presuming that's probably the best that the lap time SJ Miller can do for now, which opens the door there for everyone else behind, so it can represent the lap time quicker maybe. Meanwhile the GOT though, P11 with no lap time set at the moment, coming out there on the lap on the set mediums, and he decides to abort the lap and go into the pits, so the GOT is into the pits. Meanwhile Ollie's out there currently, well CSR Ollie is out there currently as putting some runs on medium tyres, aiming to get a good result, but needs to think about setting a lap time ASAP. Meanwhile though, reigning champion Siege on the pressure then, trying to get a lap time set. Meanwhile CSR Ollie has retired. I presume it's just a case of just using the quality as a practice run. And Siege there goes into P5 then with 1 minute 12.5. So still got enough plenty of time if he gets his car back into the pits and put himself a harder compound, or opt to remain on set mediums then. So then obviously not many drivers currently up there at the moment as we speak. Most of them are just getting themselves prepped up ready for the last runs they can do. Blaster meanwhile though, currently out there on the set of Ultra Softs. We'll find out what time he's on. He's actually on the set of mediums, so I do apologise. He set his lap times on, but he's out there on the set of Ultras to aim to go a little bit quicker, maybe to get into the top 10. See what the Ferrari driver can do. Right, we go on board with Blaster, give him a bit of time. So then, come round for the hairpin then. So far so good there for a Ferrari driver. Coming to the likes of 10.6 and then into 12, so come out to 10.7. Crucial get the corners here right. Then come through into turn 8. And now coming into the stadium complex, and goes a little bit wide to once, but still maintains the speed. Coming now through the mini carousel, keeping it fairly nice and tight there. Exit's pretty good, splaying on. Now the last couple of corners, Crucial get this right. Go a little bit wide in the first bit. Second bit there, again, a little bit hesitant on the throttle, but despite that, puts himself up into P8. There's a plus there with a 1 minute 13.5 then, so good lap time there for the Ferrari driver, aiming to keep himself in the top 10. Meanwhile though, with just over a minute to go, battle for pole position is now locked on. Siege is obviously retired, aiming that's probably the best he's do, just preserving his life, maybe in his tyres. Hamilton then currently out there as we speak, out on a set of softs, aiming to go quicker, maybe into 1 minute 11s, or potentially 1 minute 10s, or a very high minute 1 minute 10s if he gets a good lap time out of these softs. He's also got a challenge from behind as well from Senqui and Lambo, who are also in second and third respectively, aiming to try and get on pole position. So with just over 30 seconds to go, it's all pressure on then. Oh, Senqui there is off track. Where is Senqui? I know he's retired. Now, where was he retired? He retired at the hairpin, so despite that though, still good result in qualifying. France is also retired as well, so Lambo is currently out on track. Hamilton meanwhile starts his flyer. Ollie's retired as well, so Ollie's locked into fourth at the moment. France is locked into 5th at the moment, along with Siege locked in 6th at the moment, and also SJ Miller as well locked into 7th. Meanwhile, CSR Spag there, nailing a good lap there, getting a 1 minute 11.7. What a great lap there from Spag there to get that lap time and to take Hamilton off his perch there. So Hamilton then, has he got something to respond to his CSR counterpart to get on pole position? Poe meanwhile, Poe goes even quicker with a 1 minute 11.5. So the reserve from Poe then has literally got himself up onto P1 there, and Lambo's just got himself into P2. So the TTG boys there, literally finding some good pace out there, respectfully, and getting himself a good lap time. Hamilton, meanwhile, has supported his lap there. He's now going to be qualified in P4. So then, pole sitter then, as it stands at the moment, is Poe. But what can Jay do, and also what can Alan Kay can do? Obviously, Alan Kay goes himself up to P7, and Jay looks like he's just easing to the line then. So Poe is your pole sitter. I just ignored the rankings bit on my rankings. No one really wants to see that, so just get that forward. So then, Poe then on pole then. He'll be John alongside with Lambo. Not very much in it with the gaps, 500ths of a second. Spag then is in P3. He'll be John alongside with Hampton in P4. Sen is in P5. He'll be John alongside with Gott in P6 for the third row of the grid. Alan K P7 then. He'll be joined by Ollie P in P8. Francis in P9. He'll be joined by Siege as well on the fifth row of the grid. SJ Mello in P11 for Plaster in P12, Izzy in P13, Jake in P14, Damon in P15 and Darren Sinclair in P16, and CSR Ollie then will be starting from the back of the grid in P17 then. So that is your lineup then going into the German Grand Prix. And at the moment as it stands, mostly sunny, bit of cloud around. Do not know if there's going to be a slight chance of rain maybe in the air. We do not know, but we'll find out going through the race. If the track gets a little bit, well, the area gets a bit darker, we'll find out. If it does rain, it'll be happy days. If not, still being for excitement regardless. Just now waiting for the respectful drivers there to get their setups and strategies set out. And I do apologise there for the sound in the background. I do apologise in advance. There'll be that middle niece there just making a little noise in there in contribution to your mini commentary.
Turn you all on. You can.
So then, with the formation lap then, getting itself on the road then. Poe with a good lap time in qualifying, amazing lap time. Puts himself in P1. He'll be joined with Lambo as well in P2. He's currently just stalled on the grid. I do not know if it's a connection issue, but hopefully he can get back very quickly. CSR's back then. One of the three debuts making a feature tonight with the P3 in qualifying. Great result there, and also hoping to maintain that throughout the race. He's got his counterparts behind him with Hamilton in P4. And also another debut as well from CSR, BZen. Got then in P6. He'll be good, happy with that performance, getting P6. Aiming to go get decent race out of it. Otherwise, I'm trying to get set up sorted up there. Alan Kay in P7. Great qualifying by him to get up into P7. He's got a tough ass though, sitting on ultras, but hopefully he'll make a good strategy call. Ollie in P8. Good qualifying by him on the soft tyres. Francis, great performance out of Great Britain, but he'll be looking for a good one out here tonight, despite from where he's qualifying from. Siege is in P10, good start for him to get in the top 10. And obviously from P11 to P17, they got their own fair choices of tyre strategies. SJ Mellor and Plaster starting on the set of softs. Everyone else, Izzy, Jay, Damien, Darren, and CSR Ollie will be starting on the set of mediums. So now obviously everyone's lined up onto the grid, and I hope Lambo is able to have control of his car, but we'll find out in a minute. But as the cars are there lined up, I'm just waiting now for lights up for the German Grand Prix. There we go, 3, 4, 5 lights. And it's lights out the way we go. It looks like Lambo got a little bit jumped it perfectly. But Lambo there takes P1 then with Poe in P2. Lambert, Hamilton then goes down to P3 and back down to P4 then, so McLaren's a line astern then. But at the moment there's general actions across the field, across the back, trying to keep an eye on everybody respectfully. But so far everyone there gets through there nice and clean sailing. That's what we like to see. And also trying to find out also where the cursors are as well to track down on people. Meanwhile though, we have got little major scraps going across the field then. We have got Hamilton, Zenquil and Lambo there. Lambo dropping down a few places. Francis there with an amazing start, getting himself out to P3 despite all the accidents, the overtakes going on throughout the background. Hamilton though having a little bit of a shocker start there, but making up for it. Gort meanwhile goes up the outside there, looks like on okay, which he does. Adam K then maintains position, and obviously that is Lambo. Lambo is dropped down rapidly here. What's up with Lambo? Lambo is off track. What has happened to Lambo? Not good stuff there for Lambo so far. He's got to make it all up to do now in the race. Starting up from the second on the grid. Surely we can hopefully make it up as soon as we can. But meanwhile though, although it's now saying that Lambo is on P1, that is incorrect. So Poe then currently out in the lead in P1 then. Spag in P2 and Francis in P3. Also, Francis and Spag have a little battle ding dong there. Go for turn 3. Side by side now, coming down the long back straight, heading down towards the hairpin. At the moment, Francis there maintaining out in front at the moment, heavily defending the inside, heading down towards the hairpin. Spag trying to hang around the outside, although Francis there shuts the door on him fairly respectfully. And then there's Francis there getting up into P2 then. Although Spag's got to be careful, he has got his teammate behind him. Though surely there will be no doubt of team orders there whatsoever. Although there is a yellow flag in sector 2, keeping an eye on where the incident is, but at the moment, as we speak, still fairly clean across the field. Hamilton meanwhile is watching heavily down on Spag and Zen here, putting the two newbies under pressure for the in the league. Although they all have raced each other in CSR though, so they all know their respectful racing skills and crafts. Meanwhile though, Lambo there sits the fastest lap time 1 minute 15.3. I want to intrigue to know where he is out of track. Yeah, I thought so. There is a lag in the game, so if you see Lambo up on top of the screen there as you're watching, Lambo is technically not there. He is behind the pack. So then obviously Francis there not pulling out much of the gap as much as possible. Spag is coming back at him for P2. And there we go, obviously Spag then going down the outside again. Francis there maintaining position, although Zen is coming back on his teammate to try and increase the move. Meanwhile there is overtakes going on the back there. There's Ollie P and SJ Miller. Ollie P there making a move up into P8, SJ Miller down into P9 there, so Ollie P there making a great move and a good start there so far, making them soft tyres work to a treat for him. Meanwhile there is a change of position there between the two McLarens there, prospective team orders there, obviously on different types of compounds, and so Spag's opted to drop back a little, let Zen go for it, despite being on the hard compounds of tyres. Although now Spag is now under heavy pressure then from Hamilton. Hamilton's not going to give up without a fight, no doubt. But for now, he just has to maintain positioning. Meanwhile, Francis gets up a 3-second time penalty. Not what he'll be doing. Is he done? That must be turn 1 then. He's making mistakes on. Line astern then. Francis is now under immense pressure now with two McLarens coming out at him along with the Red Bull. Zen is now going down the inside of Francis then as he makes a move stick. And obviously Zen then making a move down as he got the move stick. Obviously Francis there keeping it tight on the outside there for him. Can he still hang around the outside? Oh, that's Ben then going off a little bit there, but still maintains position. So then Francis still hangs on, still side by side regardless though. Again, great respect there from the drivers there, literally not taking each other out, clean racing there. Meanwhile though, Hamilton making a move around the outside there was Spag, so Hamilton is up there now into P4. Now obviously with Spike not being in the race tonight, Hamilton's not going to create moves and he's going to go for it again. This time though, he has to wait a little bit though because Francis and Zen are still dueling out, and obviously that's Zen then getting a little bit squirmy on the exit there. losing down the choking time then, and also collided there with teammate. Oh, that's Francis. That's Francis that lost it in the second to last corner, dropped it. And that's his position going now, and he's now going into the pits. And now that's going to cost Francis a heck of a lot of time. Not what he wants. But it does promote Hamilton up into P2 and Spegging down to P3. Meanwhile, the McLarens there are having a massive ding-dong between each other there. And also overtakes Galore in the background as well. Obviously the likes of Darren Sinclair and SJ Miller then going side by side down the main back straight then. Both got DRS though. It's a question who's got the less drag on the car. And bear in mind, they're still battling out for points, and obviously there's a Toro Rosso there in the background as well. That's off Jay. Jay's making a launch down the inside. Oh, there's wing damage there from Jay. Jay's lost a bit of end plate there, and then obviously down there going off the track as well. So Jay now got wing damage there, and he's still going side by side. He's going side by side with Alan Kay. Alan Kay hanging around the inside this time, and keeps the position for now. And obviously now Ollie's going. So Ollie's going now, going for Jay, knowing that may have wing damage. But at the moment, Jay's just hanging on for now, knowing that his little bit of end plate there is costing him dearly. Not what you want to be doing. Ollie trying to go around the outside. Darren Sinclair going inside there in the mini carousel. Can he make it stick on the exit there? Darren Sinclair there, nearly making it stick. Hangs on for now. He's now attacking Jay. Meanwhile, Siege there making an overtake move there on Uzi then. So Jay up in, Siege up into P13. Meanwhile, though, Darren and Jay go down side by side. Can Darren go to move down turn 1? Yes, he does. Now Ollie's now coming back at him for P11. Has Ollie got the move done into P11? Yes, he does. Hangs it on for now, although Jay's still on the inside. And that's Ollie through there up into P11 then. So there is close action then across the field. Meanwhile, their post still leading out in front in P1, not Lambo. Just bear in mind, Lambo is not in P1. Just to let you guys know. Meanwhile, though, turn a little bit of attention again towards the front a little bit. Two McLarens are just hanging in third and fourth, respectively. Maybe just holding on just for now. Although they have got an Ollie P coming up behind. Meanwhile, though, we're going to turn our attentions back a little bit towards the battle there for P8 then between Alan Kay and Darren Sinclair. So Darren's on a charge then on the harder compounds against Alan Kay on his ultra subs, although his tyres will be starting to scream now. And Darren then making a move down the inside. Can he make it stick by turn 1? Looks like he has. And Darren now is up a place then. He is up into P8. Meanwhile, though, Ollie and CSR Ollie then making a move as well. He's moving himself up a place as well into P9. So and they're down into P10. Obviously, Jay has got to catch up to Alan, although Alan's still behind CSR Ollie. Although CSR Ollie and Darren Sinclair are having a little battle there. CSR Ollie then gets a move done on Darren. Darren still hanging around the outside. CSR Ollie then making an overtake up on Darren Sinclair. Although Darren will not give up without fight. He's still pushing on though. It's still fairly close. But CSR Ollie then making a good charge then, starting from the back of the grid as well. So both Darren and Ollie have started from the back of the grid, so they're both on a charge, and this could lead up to a great interesting battle towards the end of the race if they're up in the top part of the field. Although with this little glitch I've got now on the screen, it's very hard to keep, guessing positions because obviously Lambo's in the way. Because of the old glitch in Codemasters, lovely job by them as always. So obviously the gaps are fairly close at the moment as we speak. Meanwhile though, the two McLarens are very, very close to each other on track, and they're going for fighting for position this time. So obviously Spag now going down inside, and obviously Spag's opted to let Sen go, saving Scrubbing over. So Sen is up into P4, well P3, Spag up into P4. Meanwhile though, Darren and Ollie go for overtake. Darren gets the place back again on Ollie, so now Darren's now got to chase down to SJ Miller then, who is the next target up the road. But if Ollie keeps battling with him, SJ Miller might have a little bit of buffer away from these two. Dogs don't keep scrubbing over each other. Meanwhile, Alan Kay still remaining on the back of Jay then. You know, despite obviously Jay's got front wing damage, Alan going to be mainly being informed by Jay to utilise it, but obviously Alan now on the threat by Siege. Siege now on a heavy charge trying to chase down on Alan Kay, although he is also being heavily pursued by his teammate. So Siege is now being under pressure here by his teammate. Now I do not know what the Mercedes boys will do about this, but I'm presuming they will just opt it out and just race it out between each other respectfully. But Siege, been the #1 driver in the Mercedes for a long time, ain't gonna let him ease through V's. Meanwhile, Alan Kay is into pits and he's opted to go on set of mediums. So we keep an eye on Alan Kay's progression then. Meanwhile, Ollie P there makes an overtake move on the got there. So good job there from Ollie P. And also Dan Sinclair's going side by side with SJ Miller then. Going for the fast right hand kick and it still remains side by side. Richard do. Darren Sinclair then gets moved done just for the next corner there. So obviously Darren Sinclair then is up a place and still remain on the charge, whilst SJ Miller then goes a little bit wide, although SJ Miller has got to be very careful. Ollie's not CSR Ollie's not far behind, catching him very quickly, although CSR Ollie has picked up a penalty there, which ain't going to help him so much, so he's now got to create a gap as much as possible. And that is Lambo there again, easing off track, so I'm presuming if Lambo... Ooh! That's a little bit of a funny old glitch. I don't know if Lambo's actually there or not, but it's very hard to detect to see where Lambo actually is on track, although I'm going to switch over to a different type of screen and all this, because this is still want to be progressing on this way. Meanwhile, the Got though makes an overtake move on Ollie down into hairpin. Can he make it stick? Although he can only make a switch back. Got then gets traction away just for now, although Ollie's still hanging on the back of him. Meanwhile, overtake galore going on so far. Jay and Siege then having a little battle then. Exit the hairpin, side by side. Jay still maintains the lead at the moment as we speak. And Siege there's just going to hang on back there, so obviously Jay then maintains P11 for now, or should I say P10 effectively. But Siege ain't giving up on him whatsoever there, so reigning world champions putting the pressure there on Toro Rosso then. And obviously still remain on board with these two, because they're quite fairly close on track, the closest battle going. And now it's the glitchy car, Lambo there, just happy just to get out of the way there, obviously by Jay for the glitches of speed. Jay meanwhile though, still on the pressure by Siege. Both on the same age of tyres, so Siege will be pushing all he can, although now you have DRS short on Jay, so he should be able to make the overtake with ease down this back straight here. Siege getting lined up, Jay getting defensive, Jay going very defensive there, maintaining very tight on the inside line there. Siege going to make the move around the outside now. This is crucial. Can he get around and make it stick? Yes, he does. And Siege there makes the move down on the hairpin around the outside. Great drive there for the Mercedes driver so far as we speak. Although Jay now has got maintain pressure on him, see if he can make a mistake, make Siege into a mistake. Easy said, it's done. But Siege then making a charge. Then Siege's next target is CSR Wally. And TTDJ there, literally getting himself a time penalty there for exceeding track limits. Not really like to see. Meanwhile, though, Ollie's not very far away from Siege, not Siege, from Gort, but still maintaining distance on him and trying to put Gort under pressure and making a mistake. Although Ollie now will have to arrest. Now the question is, can he get it all done by the hairpin? Very tight and close, but if not, he just had to hang back for a little bit. And now it's Darren Sinclair there chasing in the background as well, chasing up to these two. So won't be long, probably about a lap or two, or possibly three, for Darren there to catch up to the back of these two. We'll see what happens. Meanwhile though, Ollie is on the back of SJ Miller, knowing that he has to get past SJ Miller very quickly. And oh, Is it me, or did I just saw a bit of rain? Let's have a look a bit. Oh yes, we do, ladies and gentlemen. We have got rain. Now this will be interesting. Now I do not know how heavy and intense the rain will be, but heavier it gets, the more drama we'll have indeed in store for the race. So, for those who haven't made a pit stop yet, this will fall into the hands perfectly in strategy. Although the harder compounds, you'll probably be beneficial, because you can go a bit longer, and also with the cooler temperatures you can work the harder tyre compounds a bit more than you can with the softer compounds. Meanwhile though, Ollie is into the pits. Now this could prove very costly here for Ollie, as the rain has started to come down. He will have to quickly push on and try and make up much gain in time as possible. Though he is on the fresh set of softs, so he will have to push on very quickly. So with the rain coming down then, depending on how intensified this rain will be, and depends on how long the conditions will be, will prove a bit different. At the moment it looks a bit light, so we're okay at the moment. And obviously CSR earlier, they're making a mistake already. I do not know if the track conditions are getting a bit wet and damper as we speak. But despite that, he's still putting pressure on the Williams driver. SJ Meller's not letting the pressure get to him, so great to see. Obviously SJ Meller, they're hanging out there, knowing that the car behind us will be quicker, but still maintaining the own gaps. Get the right functions here, Steph. Get the right functions. So, meanwhile, CSR Hamilton Francis then. Go down the inside by turn 1. Making a move stick. Yes, it does on Newsy. So, CSR Francis there making a move down on Uzi. Meanwhile, Ollie Pete is also on the back of Uzi. At the moment, just maintaining the gap as we speak. But as it is for now, CSR Francis and Uzi then go side by side down by the hairpin. Ollie there, Ollie P making a move down on the hairpin then. Can he make a stick on the inside? Yes he does. Ollie P there making the most advantage out of much as possible on the soft tyres. Despite the changing weather conditions, gets himself up into P13. His next target is right in front of him, which is Francis there. He got held up. So Ollie P will be looking for a charge to get past Francis very quickly, with this track conditions ever changing lap by lap. Meanwhile though, we have got CSR Spag down into the pits on a set of softs. The question is, what tyre compound will he go on? That would be too early for intermediates yet, so he's going to go a set of mediums in. So he'll be joined out in P10. Obviously Francis and Ollie P come around the first corner then, so obviously Spag then getting out ahead of these two vitally, especially in front of Ollie P. So Francis then under pressure by the Red Bull. Ollie P with the arrest. Now the question is, can Ollie P make the move on Francis? Francis still maintaining good speed, or straight line speed at least, to keep Ollie at bay for now. Although next car front is Jay. Ollie P's now just got to think now, let Francis possibly get held up and by Jay and look for this easy route to go round. Meanwhile, Lambo is not on the pits, he's currently out on track. Meanwhile, Poe is into the pits though, legitimately. See what tyres he's go on. There's another set of softs then for Poe then. Playing it out to the rain. Quite a few drivers are out into the pits as well as you speak, so Poe then come out from the lead into P6 on a new set of softs. Meanwhile though, Spag gets past Siege then. So Spag is up into P9, Siege down into P10. Francis and Ollie then making a move there on J. So Francis then is P10. Meanwhile, oh, CSR Ollie is out. CSR Ollie is out. Where is CSR Ollie? Oh, he's lost it just by the back DRS straight there. And that's his car there, obviously in the background there, literally laying out on track now. Do not know if it's going to cause a safety car, virtual safety car. At the moment it stands. Nothing's been called out, so still motor. Oh, and we got a virtual safety car, and the virtual safety car has been deployed.
You're not thinking of it all, are you?
So then, so this will throw into the likes of anyone nearby the pit lane to take a full advantage of. Obviously, Hamilton now being in P1 as it speaks. Will he swing into the pits, making the most of this virtual safety car, which he does. So Hamilton is coming into the pits then.
Can you let back in?
So Hamilton is in the pits, along with Zen as well into the pits. Now would have got full of suit. No, he won't have got, will carry on. So obviously Hamilton and Zen are in the pits. Meanwhile, this will lead got into the P1 then. And obviously Darren Sinclair is up there as well into P2. Along with Poe. So Darren meanwhile has been out on the older set of tyres, is now under threat by Poe, who's really with a pit stop. Although I'm sure Darren won't make it easy for him despite this. The rain's still pouring though, track's still dry. So Poe there making a move down on Darren, should be easy slammed up move by the hairpin, which he does. New tyres, fresher grip. Making a move down, slam dunk there. Up into P2 then. He's got to chase down the Gort, who's not far out the road. And with those new sets of tyres, he'll be pushing almighty hell to make sure he's got a P1 in the bag for him. Meanwhile though, CSR Hamilton though, under pressure by Spag, and Hamilton then goes off wide and Spag takes the advantage there. Now with SJ Meadow then taking advantage as well, although very up close on the back of the rear ring of Hamilton. Hamilton there just hangs on there briefly. But it looks like a sign of a mistake there, and obviously SJ Meadow then makes the same mistake as Hamilton then. So looking like the track conditions are changing ever so slightly worsened. But for now, maintaining a good gap. So Synchro then get past there on SJ Meadow then, so Synchro is up there as well. SJ Meadow comes into pit, Siege then promotes himself up into P8. Obviously those on the older set of tyres. Meanwhile though, Jay is on a set of intermediates along with Zen. So this will be interesting. It looks like most of the drivers now have opted to come in to put on a set of intermediate tyres, but I haven't seen anything for DRS being disabled, or could have missed it easily, but obviously with everything going on, easy said and done. Meanwhile then Plaster comes into pits. Now will he follow suit and put on a set of intermediates? Yes it is, looks like it's time for the inters then. Meanwhile, yellow flag and P takes the 2. And that looks like Oli P there making a blinder. Oli P there making a mistake. So he's now lost the place there. He's lost the place to Darren Richard Norway, who wants. Looks like the track conditions now just favouring a little bit more into the intermediates then. So obviously, I'm presuming DRS will probably be disabled at this point. So anyone who is out there on dries will now had to reconsider getting in for intermediates, and there it is. Race control have confirmed it. DRS is now disabled, so it's now to the case of literally survival, keeping the car on the track and not pushing the car to its bed limits. Meanwhile though, Hamilton then takes the net P1 then. He's got Zen behind him in P2, not very far behind, and Zen then makes a move down on the inside in turn 2. Can he make it stick around turn 3 around the outside? Oh yes he does. So Zen then making a move on Hamilton then, gets his Alpha up into P1 then, Hamilton down into P2. Poe is not very far behind and he's in P3. Lambo, don't know if he's in P4, but I will class Scott in P4. Don't know otherwise. Although they got there making a move on the possible suspect of Lambo. Makes a move there, down the street, down in the hairpin. Darren Sinclair's not very far behind as well, so all down to the case of literally knowing your track and obviously your track lines, and obviously knowing your grip of your tyres. DRS ain't gonna help you no more. It's all down to literally your skill and knowing your strengths of your car. Meanwhile though, in the very far distance in the background, using a good old eyesight, we've got Jay and Ollie P having a squabble around the exit of the hairpin there. Obviously Jay up into P11, Ollie into P12. Meanwhile though, Hamilton has dropped a couple of places in, so Hamilton's there's making the mistakes out there in the rain, wet conditions in. So obviously, as of Lambos keeps glitching, I do apologise. I'm trying to keep track on use change conditions and all stuff. So obviously it ends out P1 at the moment. Poe in P2 got into P3. Meanwhile, Hamilton's in the pits again. Oh, this is going to cost Hamilton dearly. This is costing precious points he don't want to lose. Obviously, Spike not being in the race. So, obviously, Hamilton now has got to do a mega charge now, try and get himself up the field. Meanwhile, though, Zen is in P1 with Poe in P2 and the got in P3 then, so that is your top three at the moment. Although Darren is very closely behind, pursuing the Gort to aim to get himself onto the podium at least. And looks like the rain, I do not know if the rain's getting heavier or not, but looking at it, obviously from the Spectec cam, looks like the rain is getting a little bit heavier. So, at the moment, track-wise, not much in the way of surface water as it sees, but still maintaining a good pace on the inters despite that though. VSR Francis and SJ better then. Obviously VSR Francis then getting himself up into P6 effectively, so SJ is down to P7, although Francis is coming into the pits again. Now, has Francis got wing damage, or has he noticed something that I do not know in terms of weather conditions? We'll find out. So what set of tyres are going on? Is that a set of wets? It is. It's a set of wets going on there, Francis' car. So Francis is seeing something that I do not know. So now this will be interesting. We keep an eye on Francis' lap times then compared to everyone else and see what will happen. Meanwhile though, Darren Sinclair not giving up on the Gort. And looking at it, we're not very far away from wet conditions to be honest. So Francis there may have made a good call there to go on the set of wets. Got nothing to lose. Darren O's still pulling on the Gort. Got there getting a little bit squirmy on the exit, but just gets away with it for now. Looks like the track conditions, as you can clearly see, is not very far away from full wet conditions. Reminds me of another also a great memorable moment around Germany, where it's been a dry race most of it, and then Rubensberg to win it with a few laps to go in full wet conditions on a set of slicks. So anything can happen out there, especially in these conditions as well. Darren meanwhile still remains behind the Gort, getting ever so slightly closer. Spag there is also not very far behind as well, making a good start so far in his debut. There we go, Darren lining up the Gort then. Where is he going to go? He's going to go down the outside. If he maintains his stick around the outside, keep it on the wet surface, you'll be okay getting more grip out of it. Looks like he does get a little bit scrubbing the exit there, still remains side by side of the Gort, but the Gort gives away with good traction there despite that. Gort still hangs on just for now. Although it's Darren making a move down the inside. No, he's not. He's going to plan and wait for it for a while. So these two keep carrying on scrubbing. Spag there is there waiting for it to all happen and unfold. Meanwhile though, switching back to Hamilton, he's on the charge and he's aiming down on stage. Meanwhile, Jay has retired. Jay has retired and lost his car. So whereabouts is Jay lost his car? It's exactly where it is, within the yellow flag sector there. So there is Jay's car. They're retiring off the edge then. So I'm assuming Jay's made a mistake somewhere. That's unfortunate there for Jay. So he was doing so well there, and we've got another virtual safety car then. So now will this lead into any other drivers there to put on a set of wets, because that's looking very close to wet conditions out there. SJ Miller then making the opportunity then to go into the pit lane. Wouldn't be a surprise to go for a set of wets at this point. What's the track's looking like? And it is. It's a set of wets there for SJ Miller, so he's using the virtual safety car to its advantage then. Not losing too much gain of time because everyone's around with a set delta. And SJ Miller is up there in P9 on a set of wets then. Now this can prove very interesting to the likes of strategies then. So obviously keep an eye on the front runners, because they got to make the move onto wets now, because looking at it, the track conditions are ever so slightly getting closer to full wet conditions, although surface water there's not much to be seen. Meanwhile though, Darren Sinclair is chasing down the got. Spag is not far behind as well. This is a battle here for the last podium position on the grid. We've got hanging on for dear life. Spag is putting heavy amount of pressure on Darren. Darren's just got to time his move correctly, knowing that one error move on the got cost him dearly for the car behind. And Spag they're going off right there, but maintains good car control there from Spag though, to maintain his car, not to keep out the wall there. So got then going round 10-2 along with Darren, and Lambo's not really there, so ignore Lambo in the distance there. But they got at the moment they're still maintaining the gap on Darren. Spag's got all to do again to chase down the gap on Darren. But again there, like I said, with these ever changing weather conditions, anything can happen. Obviously in wet conditions you got acted like a karting track. Outside will have a grippier line than it is the actual inside racing line originally, which you're using a dry. So you got to do kind of reverse opposite wise in order to get the optimal grip out the tyres, because everyone will be using the main inside line in wet conditions like you do in a dry, but the thing is it grinds your tyres more. If you use the outside line you gain more grip, and also better cooling on your tyres. Meanwhile though, VSR Francis has left the session, hoping to maintain and get back in it ASAP, especially with points in stake as well. But swinging back into the trio battle here for the last podium spot on the grid. We've got them picking up some 3-second penalty, going rough wide at turn 1, not what you want. Although Dan will probably see that, and also just got to try and maintain gap, although he is now under pressure then from Spag. Spag having an amazing debut so far and putting on a good performance, chasing down on the likes of Darren. He'll be aiming to get an overtake down on him soon, although at the moment just not close enough. He is getting closer each lap with his weather conditions changing, but at the moment just be careful on the exit traction there. Last we just see that the hairpin a little bit squirmy on the exit, but still maintains good car control there. So the McLaren driver looking for his first set of points then. Darren again ever close in again on the likes of the back of Gort. So Gort still giving him out good pressure there. Meanwhile though, Siege and Hamilton getting through the back mark of Lambo. Meanwhile though, Ollie P and SJ Mello though have a little bit of an overtake ding dong then. SJ Mello then going for an overtake around the outside. Ollie P hangs around for the moment. Ooh, SJ Mello then nearly going for the opportunistic move on the outside there, but for now just got to hang on for dear life. But looking at it though, it looks like the wet tyres are looking more optimal. Meanwhile though, Darren's in the pits, and what tyres is going to go? He's going for another set of intermediates. So Darren's going for another set of intermediates then, so this will free up Spag then and got for a bit of pressure. But for the time being, Darren's got a little bit more to do, although he has come back be just behind CSR Hamilton then. So Darren then, Darren there got a little bit of a mistake there, got on the exit 10-3. Again, just maintaining his car, although he has lost the position there to Siege, but luckily not lost his car completely. So Darren there making a little bit of an error. Now I do not know if he's on the right tyres or the wrong tyres at this point, but looking at the track conditions now, if you go on board, you're very borderline with wet. So obviously now that everyone who's up there racing at the moment, they'll have to judge on their own call of what tyre conditions to go on as we speak. But it is very borderline. And okay, meanwhile gives a 3-second time penalty, but Meanwhile, turning again, attention to the last spot on the podium then. Still ongoing. Spag now has closed the gap on the Gort. Gort now starting to come under pressure there for the new debut of the McLaren driver. And look at that, Spag there getting close right up on braking there. So he's got very good brakes on him in his setup there to get real close there to the Gort. Now, could he make it move on down on the straight? Gort will now be no pressure on him. Gort meanwhile goes down the outside. Spag got the move down the inside. Heavy braking into the hairpin. Can he make it stick? And he goes a little bit deep. Now Gort's coming back out on him on the switchback. Can Gort maintain it for now? Going through the kink. Still side by side. They're going to remain side by side throughout. Yes, they do. Great respect there between them two. Have a great respect. Now Spag got the move done completely this time though. Yes, he does. Spag's got the move done on the Gorts, and then so Spag then is onto the podium then. Although he's now got to try and create a gap on the Gort. We'll see what happens. Meanwhile though, Francis into the pits. Well, not Francis, sorry. Uzi's into the pits, and Uzi's on to another set of intermediate tyres then. Meanwhile, yellow flag. Oh, that's Siege. Season 2 reigning champion then. Siege is out of the race. Now where has Siege lost his car? Oh, Siege has lost it. Siege has lost it into the wall. That is unfortunate there for Siege. He was doing a good job there as well for Mercedes. And that's just very unfortunate there for Siege. So, meanwhile then, Senquil is currently out in the lead then, making his debut there, and he looks like getting past the lap car of Plaster there, so Plaster there maintaining, keeping out of the way. So, Senquil then only 3.5 seconds ahead of Poe though. So, Poe still putting on a good valiant effort to chase up. Meanwhile though, the Gort there not putting up much of a seat now on Spag, but maintaining his gap at the moment as we speak. Meanwhile though, Darren closing up on likes of Hamilton, still only 2.1 seconds away, or should I say 1.7 now. Just took half a second. He took half a second out of Hamilton just round that hairpin. So whilst Siege meanwhile unfortunately leaves the session, unlucky for him. But obviously now with everything slowly dying down, like gradual calm down just for a little bit. Now I'm sure there'll be a little bit of surprise maybe coming up, but we'll find out then. So going through the order then, as of lap 29 then, CSR Zen in P1 with Poe in P2, Spag in P3, Gort in P4, Hamilton P5, Darren P6, Ollie P in P7, SJ Meadow in P8, Francis in P9 at the moment, Uzi's in P10, Plaster in P11, and Adam Kate in P12. That is the lineup at the moment. I do not know where Lambert is exactly in regards to connection desync lag issues, so obviously the stewards will look into that a little bit further into investigation wise to find out exactly where his net position was. So that's the reason why I have not exactly classified him for the time being. So that's your current runners at the moment as we stand. Now just waiting for everything just to ease out a little bit. There we go. Uzi's then up into P10 then. Obviously now coming near to the end of the race then. Darren Sinclair is heavily closing, pursuing on the back of Hamilton then. And looking at the weather conditions, it looks absolutely horrendous, but amazing driving by the looks of my eyes. Obviously Darren there heavily closing on the back of Hamilton, making those new fresh intermediates work in his favour. Hamilton having a decent race, not being this great performance, but he's still maintaining in there despite that, getting the good points he wants for himself for the driver standings along with the constructors. Rain still lashing down heavy though. Darren Sinclair's only just half a second away from Hamilton. If he's got the straight line speed to do it to get the overtake done on Hamilton, we'll find out. At the moment, just a little bit too far back. Just a little bit too far back. As long as he gets good traction out the next few corners. Might see the little overtake happening out as we speak. Meanwhile though, SJ Mellor is into the pits and has opted to go out on the set of intermediate. So obviously now conditions look like they're just lightened up a little bit more into the favour of intermediates this time. So good little try out of the strategy there for SJ Mellor. They're going on to wets. But meanwhile though, Darren Sinclair though is lighting them up, getting close to the back of Hamilton. So Darren's now just lining them up, coming down, start finishing straight. Won't see any overtakes going down into turn 1 at the moment, but getting turn 2 and turn 3 right, maybe see overtakes down the back straight. And now into turn 2. Hamilton then just taking it easy. He is on older set of inters. Darren's making a good work on the new set, and he's getting heavy closer there. Oh, and Darren's just lost it. Darren's dropped it on the exit turn 3. Oh, that is very costly there for Darren. He was doing so well there on the fresh set of inters as well, and to drop it just on the exit turn 3, that's proved very costly for him. Ollie's just coming around turn 2 now, so obviously Darren has got enough gap behind him. Oh, meanwhile the court has gone. The court has retired from the session. So what happened to Gort? Oh, that is very unfortunate there for the Gort there to just retire the car there and lost it there. That is very unfortunate there for the Gort. He was doing so well there, and just to drop it is very unfortunate. Meanwhile, that's the remnants car there, the Gort, then he won't be too happy with that result, what just happened to him. But it will promote other drivers behind upper place, so which will promote Plaster up into the points for Ferrari as well. Seeing Ferrari getting some scores on the points, so meanwhile though, the gap towards the lead is coming down very nicely then. Only a lap and a half to go. CSR's then on 2 lap older tyres on the inters. Poe on 2 laps younger. They are coming up into traffic though, so they have to be very, very careful. Well, I was going to say traffic, I say the glitch car Lambo, which gets happily dispatched there as we speak. So, not the way I like someone to say it, but it is a glitch. So, carrying on though, despite this. Poe heavily chasing down on the back of Zen. Meanwhile though, Spragg maintains into P3. So, it's a McLaren P1, P3 as it stands at the moment. Poe though still maintains on a charge going into lap 33. He hasn't got much laps to do it. He's got to do it very soon and very quickly. It's a now or ever moment, although he has lost a little bit of time to Zen though. Zen is now starting to pick up the pace a bit. And then you can see the Renault bearing down the back of the rear ring. But for the time being, looks like Zen's got him covered. We're only by a second of the gap. Oh, they're maintaining a good decent line round there. Hamilton is also maintaining gap as well in P5. Poe there making a little bit of slight mistake there. Getting a little bit squirmy. That could cost him dearly in time, but he is now under a second on Zen there. Obviously going through the stadium complex. Great area short for it. Can we maintain it going around this carousel? Yes, we do. Well done, Cody Masters. Applaud you for the cameras on this one. But going through this sector 3 then in an aerial view, Poe's getting very close to him. He's now coming onto the final lap of the race though. So battle for P1 is still hotting up there. Again, getting very, very close. Poe is heavily now closing in as much as he can. But going around turn 2. Can Poe get a good exit out of here? It's very crucial. And he is heavily closing at this stage. The lap times are, the gap Counters coming down even slightly. Only just above half a second to go. Poe's heavily closing in on the back of Zen, and he's going for the dive bomb. Has he got the move done? Has Poe got the move done? No, Zen's still coming up on the back on the inside on the switchback. At the moment, it's a drag strip there. Has Poe got the move done into P1? Can he hang around on the exit of this kick? Oh, and they're side by side again. A little bit of tight contact there, but they both get away with it. Still maintain side by side. Poe is still giving no quarter whatsoever, nor is Zen, and they're still going side by side. Great driving by the two drivers here. And at the end, they just gets ahead. Poe had to concede, but can he still launch one up on the inside though? He's going for it though. Is this time hanging around the outside in the mini carousel? Zen goes wide. Poe takes P1. Poe takes P1 around his carousel. No, Poe's got the lead. No, can he maintain it go around the last couple of corners though, despite being slippery? Poe and Zen having a great battle there, although Lambert's got across the line, but Poe though comes over the line into P1 then. Zen though having a great battle there in the P1 at the last bit of the lap there, gets P2.
Hello.
CSR Spag though comes over the line in P3. Also, although Spag gets P2, Zen goes down into P3. Hamilton not being his great man on the races though, coming around the last couple of corners then and gets P4 for the Red Bull driver. So good drive there for Hamilton. Darren, great drive from him, starting from the back of the grid. Coming over the line now, oh, nearly lost it on the exit there, but gets P5 there despite it. ODP, good drive from him. And he will take P6 then for Red Bull. So ODP there into P6. SJ Melody will be one of the last ones to complete the lap. Will take P7. Izzy will take P8, Plaster will take P9, and K will take P10. So obviously with Lambo's finishing position is currently under investigation due to connection. So I have not included him whatsoever. But your race winner though, or my eyes, the race winner is TTG Poe. Wow, then what a closing end to the race. Had to happen on the last lap. So, P3 will be CSR Zen. P2 will be CSR Spag. But race winner will be Poe though. Not Lambo as it stands on the podium there. But it'll be Poe though, who takes the race win then around Germany. So then, the unofficials or the official results then, Lambo not as it stands in P1 though, but Poe though will take P1 in my eyes, along with Spag in P2, Zent in P3, Hamilton P4, Darren P5, Ollie P6, SJ Meta P7, Uzi P8, Plaster in P9, and Alan K into P10. Francis disconnected there, P11. Got in P12, Siege P13, JP14, Ollie in CSR Ollie P15, David B in P16. Like I said though, Lambo's actual finishing position will probably more likely be under investigation until I know for certain, due to the fact of connection issues. So it's a case of where exactly finished will be find out and be notified. But that is your unofficial of the official results then. The driver of the day though. Driver of the day, who I can give that to? Now that'll be a tough call though. There has been great drivers out there for, throughout the race whatsoever. But I'll give Darren Sinclair despite starting from the back of the grid though, making up effort on the track. So obviously now this time we are coming into interviews. So we'll invite the respectful drivers in for interviews. So I'll get my lovely little bit of YouTube up and obviously the stream and see if anyone guys got any questions. If you guys got any questions for the respectful drivers that are going to be in the lobby, please feel free to pop in, comment, and we will go answer the questions for you respectfully. So we'll just see what drivers we can get in for interviews there. Just bear with me 2 seconds. Just bear with me whilst I try and get people in for interviews.
There's 3 sneezies. 1, 2, 3 sneezies. Okay. That was 3. Oh. That was 3 sneezes in a row, Brandon.
Right, just bear. People invited into interview. No, come on, get out. There we go. Happy days. Right, so now it's just a case of just waiting for the drivers then to come through for interviews. Like I say, if you've got any questions you can ask the drivers, please feel free to put it into the comments below. And looks like we got one of the first drivers here already, which is CSR Spag. Spag, how are you?
Yeah, pretty good off the bat. Debut race, podium, not bad at all.
Oh, good result. Welcome to the league, and that's what the presidency gave you. So, how do you feel like for qualifying then? Because obviously qualifying, you were putting on a good pace around qualifying. How did that went through?
Yeah, qualifying was pretty good actually. I'd say a pretty good lap, but I could have probably gone number 2 attempts to be up with Lambo, but yeah.
And then obviously going into the race, you at the start had a decent start. You're battling with your teammate and obviously fellow CSR counterpart with you as well. And obviously had a good battle there with Hamilton as well, going through. Was it a case of team orders between you two battling, or was it a case of just going hard racing no matter what, regardless of what team?
Well, obviously between me and Zenki, there wasn't team orders or anything, but I thought he's got better pace than me at this moment in time. I'm going to aim through, obviously,
talking to you, Wally.
CSR teammates.
What are you doing?
Like, it's a bit of
Too funny.
It's the third quarter, and then just like respect each other's speed and pace. And then obviously obviously with the weather conditions changing around about laps 12 to 14 within that range, started to go into intermediates. How was the actual conditions out there when it was changing?
Well, actually, sorry.
Silly.
When
You didn't work him out, did you? No.
Hey, beautiful. Tested out, it actually kind of worked, but then
What?
Jeff, the absolute legend himself,
Really?
got a bit of strategy at the perfect time to go into the
You've
Inces.
got lots to say.
The Inces were pretty good, except for
You've got lots to say
almost
today.
at the moment. Going on
Yeah.
to the main
People
straight,
like
except
it.
that,
Yeah.
wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I did caught the with incident there on the main straight, because you were catching up to the likes of Darren Sinclair and also the Gort as well for the battle for the last podium on the grid. And I just caught you at the right time, obviously just losing it on the exit of the last corner, but you kept it remarkably out of the wall with great control.
Thank you very much.
And then obviously then you caught up to the back of the Gort and got yourself onto the podium. And obviously with your first race as well, how does it feel being up on the podium on the top step?
It's nice being on the podium, but obviously I didn't actually get on the podium. Technically, Zenki should have, but obviously I only got a puncture, so it's so very unlucky for him. But yeah, time penalties it really helps me, so that's why I try and do every single league race, just stay out of any time penalty trouble and hopefully just pick up the pieces where other people have made mistakes.
Oh, indeed. Like I said though, great, amazing drive out there and a great first race for you out in Germany. Obviously the next track we'll be going to will be in Hungary. How does Hungary suit you? guessing one of your favourite tracks, maybe? Or your
it's okay, but obviously, it's Monaco without the walls. So I don't really know what to say.
You can still overtake on Hungary. I can give you that. I can. I don't know what it's like around Hungary, but it's one of my favourite tracks to commentate on. So I'd be happy to do that. So what finishing position then are you aiming to go for around Hungary? Anywhere in top 10, potential wing maybe?
Podium, I'd say, is my objective, but anything more is nice, but I don't know, all people's paces really, because I saw quite a few top runners like Francis have a bit of a bad race. I think G2 is qualifying, starting on the ultra acceleration in time, so I'd like to see my competitive pace against him, but yeah.
Good job there, good job. Like I said again, welcome to the league and great debut drive and get on the podium, and we will see you in Hungary.
Thank you very much. I'm going to leave now.
You're welcome. Take care, Spag.
Bye.
Bye. So then, the next driver then to be interviewed then is Hamilton. Hamilton, how are you, sir?
How are you, buddy? I'm good. Fine.
Good. I'm not too bad myself. Great entertainment throughout the race, so I'll give you that. Still recovering from the last couple of laps. But how was your race for you in qualifying wise? You did a good job in qualifying, and obviously.
Yeah, it was a fun race. I enjoyed the last few laps. It was really calm, no one to fight, so I was just cruising. But yeah, qualifying, I think. My stint on the medium was so good. I wish I stayed on the medium, because on the soft I only managed to improve by 1/10, so it's nothing. So I wished I stayed on the medium. Yeah, the first race it was hectic. The first few laps with Francis on ultra soft. Yeah, he lost the car, almost took me out, so I was lucky there. And the pace was there, I was catching Lambo and who was in front also, I think Po. But then the rain came and I messed up the strategy. But I'm happy to finish 5th. No incident. It was a fun race.
Okay, so was it when the rain came in? Did it compromise your car balance, or did it just pace went there, or the grip of it in general?
No, the pace and the rain was not bad, maybe not as good as dry, but I think there was 2-3 laps which cost me a lot. I was 5 seconds behind the Lambo, and then he went into the pit. I followed him the following lap, and then I was one pit stop down in a matter of two laps, so I knew that game over there, and to finish 5th it was good.
Good job. So you're still leading the main drivers standings as it is, still at the top, obviously despite not being here tonight, so still putting away at the top, so good job on that one. Going off to the next race then, in Hungary. What is it like for you in Hungary? Good track of yours?
Not a bad track. I would say average track. We'll see. I will try my best, have fun race, have fun, and yeah. Of course, the target is always to win.
Yeah, obviously the target's out there to win. But still, hopefully you're going to do well. You never know, you might have your rival back with you next week and go for the battle, hammer and tongs again.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, I'll try my best,
Indeed. But good drive out there today though, Hamilton, and we'll see you in Hungary.
Thank you, Seth.
You're welcome. See you soon, bud. Take care. So I do not see if anyone else can join in the interviews. I'll try see if anyone else can join, but looking at it, I don't think I'm going to get nobody else in who wants to do an interview. So as that is that for interviews. I don't think nobody else has joined. Still though, thanks to Hampton and CSR Spag, they're joining in on the interviews respectfully. So going into the rest of the formation go out throughout the week. We have got a league race tomorrow night, which is the TTG, and I believe if I'll just get my little scout note up on phone, just give me 2 seconds. I believe they are racing Amazing Q. Just give me a couple of seconds to find out. And yeah, looks like TTG are racing Amazing Q to tomorrow night in the league race, as far as I know. If I got it wrong, I do apologise to Maze. If I did get it wrong, I do apologise. So that is tomorrow night. I believe that is live. I think at 8:30, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's live at 8:30 tomorrow night for the TTG Interleague race. It is a case over 2-leg race stint. So obviously round 1 of 2, which is tomorrow night, it will be live at 8:30. So do not miss it. I think Kieran and Andy will be in the comms tomorrow night. Don't quote me on it, but I think they'll be there. So we do have commentary tomorrow night. So please, hopefully, join us there for 10v10 interleague battle. There, it'll be a great turnout. Hopefully, for a good result for both sides, respectfully. On Sunday, we have got the Mexican Grand Prix, followed by the Brazilian Grand Prix for the TTL F2. Which will be provided by Jack Meyer. First race will be 8 PM as always on Sunday, followed by the next race at 8:45. Then obviously back into Tuesday and Thursday with the TTL F1, which will be live with Kieran and Andy, respectively, for those 2 nights. Obviously, I think Andy did tell me during the week that he might not be able to attend. I think it was like 1 or 2 over that week. So Kieran might be filled in with Alan Kay. Obviously, we've got the title decider on Tuesday, which is in Abu Dhabi, 8 PM. So don't miss that. It's going to be an absolute cracker. It'll be Lambo versus Poe for the title. See who will claim the first title for TTL F1. Then on Thursday, we have got the obviously like the post-race Challenge Cup, and the Challenge Cup we go for Thursday then, which will be at 8 PM, which will involve 3 races, random grids, 25%, and the locations for it will be USA in Austin, Spielberg in Austria, and Baku in Azerbaijan. So those are the 3 races for Thursday at 8 PM, obviously with 25% race distance, so it's going to be probably a bit tight on gaps. Obviously there might be gap periods in between 1 or 2 races for drivers just to get breather in between each one. I believe it goes on the point system, whoever gets the most points wins that one, so join us there for Thursday. And for next week on TTL F1 live at Fridays 8 PM, we will be in Hungary, so do not miss that. That'll be an amazing race, as some drivers like to call it, Monaco without the barriers, although you can overtake around Hungary, it has been proven. I ain't gonna say that otherwise. So then, till then, thank you so much for joining. Feel free to subscribe and link the channel to your favourites on YouTube if you wish to do so. Don't forget to tune in to all of our other respectful races we've got coming up on the community. As I quoted, obviously tomorrow night interleague battle for TTG. Obviously TTL F2 on Sundays, 8 o'clock tune in. Tuesday and Thursday for TTL F1, and also next Friday for TTFL. So thank you so much for joining. See you all soon. I have been Steph. It's been great as always to commentate for you guys, and I will see you next Friday. Take care.